First of all, I guess I'll give everybody in the podcast that listen to the podcast a little intro to what's happening with the podcast now. So from here on out, I wouldn't say we're changing it a whole lot, but more of the episodes are going to be more me and Pat, and then we're going to have guests sprinkled here and there. So like maybe every week there will be a podcast no matter what. Me and Pat will host a podcast. Maybe it's just us two talking about skiing, the industry, new things like real ski, whatever's going on, things like that. And then maybe once or twice a month, we're going to try to get a guest on and have a guest on the podcast. Just with my schedule, Pat's schedule, and everybody else's schedule, like trying to get higher profile guests on and stuff. It's really hard to with all of our timing. So trying to do a guest every week isn't really practical. And then podcasts don't come out every week. So this way there'll be a podcast for you guys every week, no matter what. And then we'll try to get guests on as much as possible and the higher profile guests throughout as we continue on. We're trying to get bigger names. Eileen Gu has said she would like to come on the podcast eventually. I reached out to her. So, yeah, I reached out. I DM'd her. I slid into her DMs to come on the podcast. She responded to you. Dude, she actually went over ready to respond to me. I'm pretty surprised. But, yeah. No, she said she's super busy right now. Understandable. Hot chicks in the ski industry. She's got a lot going on and, like, looks like she's busy all the time. So, but she said, like, maybe at the end of the season she'd love to come on. So that's something to look forward to. Maybe we'll get her on the podcast. Maybe we'll reach out to some of the other people too. I'm thinking personally I want to get some bigger names on the podcast and really talk some not shit, but like talk some shit about like everything in skiing going on in the industry and like just like get to know people and get to know like what it's like with the higher athletes. And everybody has a story, so it's interesting to hear what people have to say. But for now, you guys are gonna have to listen to me and Pat spew our little cannons off at each other. It's been good. Dude, guess what? We got a new guy at the MMA gym. His name's Vasily. He barely speaks any English. He's from Russia. And he's like, dude, he's like full on Khabib style. It's like a combo or a sambo wrestling kind of guy. And he just fucking ragdolls kids. Like I was training with him today. He's like he's super nice, but he's just ragdolling people. It was hilarious. It was pretty fun. I've been training MMA too now, like almost. I guess we've been back the last 2 days, so I've been training the last 2 days.
Nice. That's good. I was talking to my one friend in my class who fights MMA. You should definitely come back out here and train with him.
Yeah. What day are you coming back on?
Coming back to Ontario on the 9th of March, and then I think I'm going to, leave here the 9th, get to Nelson, crash in Nelson on the 9th, then go from Nelson to Regina to Thunder Bay. Then I'm going to go Thunder Bay to, I think, Sudbury, crash the night in Sudbury, and then finish the rest of the drive the next day.
Because whenever you're planning on going back out to Whistler, I was considering possibly hopping in your car and coming out to Whistler with you. Because I'm going to go out there again in the spring.
Might be a little tight.
Yeah, but we can make it happen. We can sleep together. We can cuddle up. It would make for great vlog content.
Well, if we can make it fit, sure, but I'm not so sure it's going to fit.
Dude, we have a tie strap, so we can tie strap skis to the roof. We can tie strap suitcases to the roof. We can make it happen.
It's more like I'm driving back with Kat, and Kat and I are coming back out.
Oh, Kat's coming home with you?
Yeah.
Since when is this? You are dating this chick. You're driving all the way across country with her. Oh my god.
I'm not.
Everybody needs to drop a F in the chat because Pat is now wifed up and I am single at the moment and it is not okay. This is the first time this has happened in forever. It's like we've switched roles. It's like it feels awkward. It feels weird. I don't like it. Dude, if she doesn't come home with you, you're bringing her to meet the family.
No, she lives in Ontario. She's coming home to get shit, see her family.
Oh
it's just
my!
Like
Yeah, it's one of these things, eh?
It's a splitting the cost kind of thing.
I definitely don't want to be splitting the cost with you and this chick for 3 days in a Toyota Corolla.
We can split the cost on the way home.
Tell her to invite her friend and we can split the cost 4 ways.
Just drive out with us.
Is she?
You can follow us. We'll tag team it in the.
Dude, then you can drag my Honda Civic out of the ditch when it got stuck in Bonnie's driveway today. I was a foot away from the garage door and it got stuck, and I had to dig it out. I had to get sand. I had to put boards underneath the tires to get traction to go like 2 feet into the garage. It was awful. Anyways, enough talking about that kind of nonsense. It's a little inappropriate for the younger audience. Although, generally, this podcast is going in a direction where we don't care what happens. We're going to keep it somewhat PG, but, we got to have fun with it. We are adults, so let's act like it. Anyways, you have watched X Games Real Ski. I have watched X Games Real Ski. You watched it last night, right?
I did. I watched it tonight, actually. I'm scratching my mind. I just watched it.
What is that scratching noise you got going on there?
I was using my mouse to close something. I'm done.
It sounds like AIDS, so maybe stop it.
I did. I'm done now. I told you.
Oh, okay. Anyways, yeah. Now that Pat is done scratching his penis off of his laptop. Yeah, X Games Real Ski has just happened. I think... I watched it. I think, personally... How many contestants there were? There was A-Hall, Lupe, Alex Hackel, Ferdy, Tanner Hall, and Taylor. 6? 6 people? Did I miss anyone?
I got it up right now. That's what I was doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you got all 6.
Yeah. So I'm good at it. I watched it like 2 days ago, too, or when it first came out. So I'm going to start it off with, who do you think won X Games Real Ski? I think, personally, in my personal opinion, yes, Alex Hall. Alex Hall takes the cake. It was interesting this year. It wasn't... I personally think this was the worst year for X Games Real Ski, in my opinion. Not to bag on anybody or anything like that. I just... Generally was like, the Stoke was meh for it. The entries were all pretty meh for it, minus exceptions from A-Hall and some tricks here and there from other people like Ferdy and Hackel, I think. But since when has Real Ski become something where it's not street? Because I thought it was street every year. Why?
It was POW. I think they used to do like Real Ski and Real Street or something. I think there used to be 2, one for POW and one for street, if I remember correctly. And now they've kind of turned it into one.
Because...
And I mean, it's kind of hard to kind of get both going,
Yeah, because you know how they did, like, they do X Games, like, for dirt biking, like Rio Moto, I guess is what they call it.
Real Moto.
Yeah, they kind of hit everything from street to rhythm sections to jumps, right? I think that's kind of what they're trying to do with skiing, and it's just not one of those... For me, personally, it's not one of those things that does it. I want to see Real Street as Real Street and street only. I know that they... Like, I was reading some forums today. They were allowed park shots in there. That's why Ferdy's obviously had a sick... it was a really sick jump trick, but again, like, I think I've seen that jump trick on Instagram. Like, this is not... I'm not coming from Instagram. Like, I don't want to see tricks that you post on Instagram or whatever, or in other edits on your Real Street. That's not the point of it. Yeah. And I know it's hard to get, especially with the comp season, like he's competing, it's hard to do. But, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you there. In terms of getting the backcountry and the street in one, Alex Hall is kind of the best for that with having that versatility to ski both trained. But, I mean, you get, like, Ferdy's a park skier. He's not, like, he'd be good in the street. And he's, like, his street shots were pretty wicked. I mean, there was some gnarly rails.
But he has no street, like, experience prior to this. Like, he doesn't have any parts or anything to put on.
I don't know what his experience is prior to it, but he's not known for his street.
Yeah, exactly.
He's known for his really big, stylish jump tricks. He's got really nice axes and stuff, and that's what people like to see him do. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, like, in my mind, Real Street was always kind of like the underground street people that were never in the big contests, that are getting a chance to shine and put on, like, and, like, make a name for themselves in the industry with something outside of comp skiing, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's exactly, like, you're getting rid of the comp skiers and you're bringing in the people who are known for their filming, because there used to be a bigger divide between comp skiers and filmers. And now a lot of ski movies are kind of taking the hits, like Level 1's not doing it as much. Poor Boys is done with a lot of stuff. Like,
MSP's
Step
pretty
Productions,
down.
I haven't heard from them in a while. Like, all of those ski, like, movie producers that used to be huge have kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Now you got, like, The Bunch and Good Company and all these, like, smaller companies kind of coming up. It's whole different dynamic from what it used to be. So now it's weird with how things are working in terms of the dynamic with skiing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, shit, what am I doing here? I can't even get to my FaceTime with you there, Pat. Big Pat Daddy. How do I get to my FaceTime with you, Big Pat Daddy?
I don't know what you did, to be honest.
I pissed it off. I don't know what I did either. This is fucked up. There we go. Okay. But yeah, no, like, I think it's kind of like, it's cool because obviously X Games wants people with more, I guess we'll use the word clout for lack of a better word, although I sound like a douchebag saying that. They want people with clout that are going to bring like more viewers to X Games. A-Hall has a lot bigger fan base than somebody that is a Cal Carson or somebody else like that of the world. Although a street part from somebody like him for X Games Real Street would be insane. It would be like, it would be what I want to see. However, it doesn't pull the same amount of audience. I don't know. It was interesting. I didn't mind like this Real Street having Street and POW wasn't like a really big deal for me. I just wasn't expecting it.
It wasn't a big deal, but I find doesn't matter how good of a skier you are. Like even Alex Hall, his was really good.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe this kind of ruins my point, but if you're not Alex Hall, you got to be compromising one or the other. To get good backcountry shots, like you got to get good weather days. You got to get to the spot. Like there's so much time that goes into that, and then street shots are.
So much
take
time.
As much setup time, but they're so time consuming in terms of getting the shot and
building the
setup. You gotta go through times a day. Like it's so if you're just doing street, it's one thing. If you're just doing POW, it's nothing. But to kind of do both is like it's a lot more.
And you need a big crew to do both. Like and you need not only do you need a big crew, not only do you need a big crew to do both, you need two completely different crews. Like you don't. It's not like you're gonna take your street crew and go into the backcountry. Most of them don't have avalanche safety training. You don't have the right gear. You don't have the right setup. Like it's different things. I mean, some people obviously make the transition over, but I think Alex Hall, in my opinion, I think he won it because, first of all, he had some really creative rail tricks. His switch tail tap to like revert 2 to that down rail was insane. That switch 6 on that concrete ledge was insane. He had some really insane ones.
My favorite trick in his, just because it's different and it's my style, was like, I don't even know what you call it, like the backflip, double backflip 180 off of that like triangle sign where he just ejected straight up.
He launched
like the 180 early. That was my favorite thing that he did for sure.
Yeah, that like and he kind of covered all the bases. He had tech rail tricks with swaps. He had like gnarly real street hits. He had technical real street hits. And then when we back into POW, he had the big POW tricks in the backcountry. He did switched up 14. Landing switch in POW is incredibly hard. And to do a switched up 14 to do that. And then he did unnat switched up 10. And he had
that switch 7 thing to like nosebud like switch.
And
3,
the way he held that to switch 3 was super sick too. So
that was really impressive.
Do you know if you can win fan favorite and X Games Gold? Can you win both?
You can. People have before.
In my opinion, he should win both.
Doesn't happen. Usually there's a bit of divide between technicality and style, but I don't know. That one's just.
This is the year it's gonna happen if it's gonna happen.
Yeah, like Ferdy's was good. It didn't really stand out. Same with Lupe Hagerty. Alex Hackel had a few like really standout tricks, but there's only a couple. Where like even Alex Hall, like that one like rail he hit where it was like up, flat, down, but it was kind of like on like an angle, and he did like double swap. Like that was wild into the trees. Who do you put second? What?
No, go ahead. Sorry, talk about Taylor's first.
I was gonna say that one. Just, I mean, I don't know.
It was good.
It was good.
For a girl.
But it wasn't Alex Hall's. It wasn't even like really close to Alex Hall's.
It wasn't anything close to any. It wasn't anything close to any of the guys. However, obviously, we're not expecting that, having her come in. I thought it was cool to see a girl do street and actually do street.
Really good style. I really liked watching it for sure.
And she did street. Her part was street. There was good urban shots. I would say one thing is she had a couple shots shots in the same features, like different tricks on the same feature in street that usually doesn't play. And a lot of the features were like, I know she's a girl and like, and it's different level of skiing, but a lot of the features were a little smaller for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And the tricks weren't as big, but I mean...
It was still good. It was very good.
Yeah.
Like, hats off to her.
And then Tanner Hall, I mean...
Interesting.
If we're pulling handicaps, I mean, like, he's 37, which is... At 37, if you're still skiing, that's impressive.
We're pulling handicaps. That's impressive that he's skiing at this age, and that his body's been through a fucking shitload, for sure.
Absolutely. It's very respectable. I mean, he had some big tricks. I mean...
Too much power, in my opinion.
I mean, first of all, the one thing that I was like, okay, was just... He did a triple backflip, and he put, like, the same video, like, 4 times.
Yeah.
That's cool in, like, a movie where you're not, like, time crunched, but even a minute and a half.
You're really time crunched.
Like, it's sick. It's really cool to watch. But if you're trying to judge this on most impressive, where Alex Hall's just dropping clip after clip after clip, and he's just...
On different variety of spots, too.
Yeah. That's more impressive, in my opinion, than just putting the same sick trick over here, which is... It's not discrediting the trick. Like, it was wicked. It's just, you know... I mean, in terms of this format, I don't know.
And from what I've heard, he got hurt, and he had to end his filming early. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that, but I saw like some comments about that. So maybe that's part of the reason why he added a little extra clips to fill that time, because he maybe didn't get to get as much tricks as he wanted. His dub back to land switch to 180 was really cool.
That was cool.
However, you put it right after a triple backflip. It's like triple backflip to like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's the same trick. It's on different features and stuff. Again, like maybe something maybe a little more creative than trick selection.
You put it right. You lagged, so I missed it. You say you did it right after the triple backflip?
Yeah. Like I would like to see something either different trick selection, like even like a dub underflip, or like I don't know, like it's like dub backflip and triple backflip. It's like
I don't know that I'd necessarily say do the different trick. Just change the editing. So, because I mean, if you do a triple backflip then a double backflip, one after the other, it's just gonna not be the same. You know, like if you did triple backflip, then he put a switch to up 9, then he put a street rail or something.
Yeah.
Or he just even put the triple at the front of the pow segment and put the double back. I mean, I don't know. Or do the double then the triple. Like it just.
And I get it because like it is on 2 different features. Like one's a booter and one's like kind of into a hit. Or like a back, like I don't know how you want to call it, a QP. But like in my eyes, maybe it's just the way I think. I think of that as like doing a K-Fed or doing a super fed and then posting a clip of your super fed and then posting a clip of a K-Fed after it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this. If once you do the triple backflip, all right, why don't you do the triple backflip up and then switch 180?
Okay. I mean, why not?
Way too aggressive, obviously.
Yeah, but like. It was cool. It was cool to see him. It was cool to see him doing tricks. Obviously,
it's just sick to have him still in the contest and skiing. I mean, he's a huge presence in the sport. So to have him in is just awesome, and it's always everyone always looks forward to watching his segments. And I really enjoyed it.
And I think
not at all trying to go after it or just talking in general in terms of the whole contest.
No, like it's always weird. Like now that I'm doing like the reaction videos on YouTube and stuff, and like talking about things like this. I like to like actually talk about how I feel about it, but like I have nothing against any of these people. Like I think all of it's super sick, and like a lot of it's stuff I would never like. I probably wouldn't do a triple backflip, like maybe down the line, but it's not something I have. Like I'd be like really like I'd be terrified to do it.
Absolutely.
But like it's just like breaking it down and really getting into the details of it.
Yeah, it's a good thing to clarify because I'm not trying to crap or shit on any of this stuff. Like it's all really. It's great to watch. And just like, trying to take like a more analytical approach to the contest and kind of make a prediction on who's going to do what. I really enjoyed everyone's selection.
For sure.
I mean,
and like when
they made something to watch, which is
we kind of brushed off like Lupe's part and stuff. Like we kind of like Alex won, Ferdy was maybe second, or Hackel was maybe second. But like by no means am I saying his part wasn't good. Like it was really good.
Yeah, it was for sure.
Yeah, and like a lot of the tricks were really good. In Lupe's case, maybe I think some of the features weren't as burly as Ahal's or Hackel's. The technicality wasn't as high as Ferdy's or Hackel's. His style was very good. The editing maybe wasn't like my personal favorite compared to those two. But.
Yeah. No, it was still sick. Like I mean, it was a wicked it was a good edit. Like, it was just a quality edit.
Yeah.
It's just, it isn't like, if this was like it's weird. This whole thing is a bit weird. Cause it's like, if it was just movies, you know, you just sit at home with your friends, you watch movies, and it's stoked. This is an X Games, like, judged event.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not, like, live, but it's like trying to kind of pick the best. And, like, when you're running people up against each other, any single one of these would be insane movie parts. Like, if you were watching this with your friends, you'd be blown away. Like, oh, that was awesome, you know? Like, it's for the movie segment, but it's just a different format, so it changes the way people, like, that you see stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And, like, I don't know. When you came back to Tanner Hall, obviously his street part wasn't, like, his street clips didn't have the juice that to compete against any other guys. When you factor in his age, what he's been through, what he's done,
but
it does do very
the
well.
Heaviest POW segment.
I would put A-Hall's above his.
Yeah, I guess A-Hall did the switch to 14. And, yeah,
he had less POW clips, but he had heavier tricks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And his ender was very creative. Tanner Hall's wasn't, his powder clips weren't as creative. They were sick, but they weren't as creative. Let's talk about Hackel, because his part, I think I put him second over Ferdy. I think I put him second over Ferdy because I would say him and A-Hall are very close. I think A-Hall takes the cake, but not by much.
I'm not a huge, like, I liked his video, but I don't know, I like A-Hall's style more. It was more enjoyable for me to watch. The one or two tricks really stood out for me, though. I mean, the one over the building, obviously, where he, like, what was that, like a switch 4 or 6, like, hand drag.
Pretz backed. That was insane.
That was wild. That was probably, like, one of the, by far, in, like, the top 2 or 3 tricks from the whole thing.
Oh, for sure.
Out of everyone's. But, I don't know. A-Hall just didn't seem to stop impressing me. Like, there was a couple,
like, I wouldn't say dull moments.
Like, it wasn't, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a couple dull moments. There's
just style preference in terms of things. I don't know.
The switch to back cork 6 out of that, like, kind of C-rail statue thing was super dope.
That was really sick. I really liked that one.
That beginning shot where he comes through, like, that building and, like, what is it? It's a huge disaster onto that rail. Like, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it wasn't like a technical trick, but it was just really big.
It was burly. It was really burly, yeah. That was super
good, like,
sick.
Cinematography and stuff in terms of editing. And
his cinematography was different. However, I liked it. I thought that was different and creative. I liked it. It was just very different than what we're used to. And then obviously Ferdy's real street part was really good. For my personal opinion, I don't think he should win, based off the fact that there was park clips and backcountry clips in there, and smaller urban features. Almost all the urban features Ferdy hit were smaller features, not as high consequence. Obviously, he did more tech tricks like 2P6 and stuff, but like that rail that he did the 2P6 on, I think if you took any good comp skier and put them on that rail, they could do a 2P6 on it after a couple tries. It wasn't like it was a two. Yeah. It's not like it's a closeout rail or something. It was like a pretty good flat bar, and like I don't know what his schedule is like in terms of like filming or whatever, but yeah, that was my opinion on it.
I like this. I don't know. I just like the big. In terms of street skiing, I like big features. Like, I mean, there's all that creative stuff. Like there's a creative side of river skiing where you do like the whole like the bunch style of like swerve skiing kind of like creativity and stuff, which is cool. But I'm more like the old school, like big jumps, big rails. So like first of all, Ferdy's like first show with the big lip on back 4 off over the drop and stuff. That was sick. I just like this, like watching that. That's more my style thing. And like Alex Hackel had like, I mean, he did the dub 7 over the fence.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That was sick. He had a couple of like really cool like his.
He had some burly tricks in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like, shit, what was I gonna say? Like in terms of like street style, comes down to preference and us personally. I'm like a Clayton Villa, Mutiny style. That's the kind of street I want to see. Ferdy's look like kind of comp skiing brought to the street. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does.
I'm not saying that like It's different.
It is weird with like how things have happened in like the past like 10 years of skiing. Like what happened to like the Sean Jordan and Will Weston even is like pretty well disappeared. Like level 1 had all those heavy hitters of street skiing, and it was like, yo,
it's different.
It's totally changed
but
in terms of.
Should we? I want to bring something up because like when you said Will Weston and like the old level 1 guys, it brought me back to like the very first real streets that we saw. Do you remember like LJ Strenio was real street?
Backflipped onto a post. That's still one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen.
That right there, that year of real street and like those real streets is what real street is to me. And that and that video alone, LJ Strenio's video, I think outdoes all the ones that were this year. And I think a couple of those that year outdid all those. I think
LJ always had some gnarly stuff.
And technical too, and super sick. And those guys that were in that event, like those years, like when it first came out, that was their sole focus, right? Their sole focus for that season was to film an X Games Real Street part. They had a whole crew. This year it's kind of like A-Hall's like rushing out to do a couple hits here and there in between comps. Ferdy's rushing out to do a couple hits here and there between comps. And then obviously with COVID and stuff it's different. But like I think back like 2 to 3 years when they first started Real Street, and that to me is what I want to see come back a bit.
It used to be, like, to be honest, I used to wait for them to be released and watch them, and I mean, I watched them, like, 20 minutes before we did this.
Yeah.
Like, I saw clips on Instagram.
You watched them because we were going to talk about it in the podcast.
All the slams he took onto that, like, concrete ledge doing the switch 6. And I saw Alex Hackel's, like, over the building switch 6, press 1 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or 5 or whatever he did. I mean, but it wasn't like I was chomping at the bit. Like, you'd see LJ do his teaser or something, or Tom Wallace with those big, like, switch 4 over a fence disaster. Like, those huge tricks it used to be. I don't know. It just doesn't have the same wow factor it used to. It doesn't. I don't know if it's just the year with COVID or what, but, I mean, I can't imagine it's easy to get out and film this with what's going on right now.
And I think...
And the fact that they had something is great.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's different, but, like, I don't think there's as many gnarly... I don't think that... I think the thing is there's just not as many true street skiers in real ski now. And, like, maybe that's because they're kind of transitioning away from that into park and POW and everything. But, like...
Well, that's what I was talking about. With those big production companies used to be able to pay for stuff, and it's... Like, I don't...
There's no one that does... there's no professional skiers that do just street now. There's none.
No, because you can't do it anymore. It's not the same.
There's the little kids...
have a career doing that.
Yeah, there's the younger kids that are, like, coming up, like... Did you watch Child Labor's movie?
No, I did not.
You have to watch that. That's gnarly. They're just jumping into people's pools and like... I mean, I'll send you a video. I'll send you.
I got like a month off coming up. I'll watch all the stuff.
That street edit was super sick. It's a bunch of people that are like... maybe aren't the best skiers. Like, they're still really good skiers, don't get me wrong. But they're not like the A-Halls or like the Tom Moshes. Yeah, they're less known. Yeah, they're on the come up. But like, that is all street skiing is now. Is those kids that are on the come up. Maybe it's like a passing of a guard, a new generation or something. But there's not like any professional people that just ski street and film now. And I think that's maybe why X Games Real Ski was lacking this year, in my opinion. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it might just be a weird trend.
I don't know.
I think it's the whole combination of events.
It's all fucked. I got the mic attached to a candle today. It smells delicious. I was going to light it, but I thought it would fuck up the audio. This is the new mic now, because the other mic scratches, and it really pisses me off.
So. Why did it scratch?
It just, like, goes... like, for, at random parts in the audio. Like, it just randomly decides to do that. I have to figure it out. I'm going to go to the camera store and, like, ask them if they know anything about it, but I have no clue why.
It's a good mic.
It's a good mic, yeah. It's like pretty new too, but the audio and this will be fine. Oh shit! Is there anything else you want to bring up right now, or anything else you want to talk about? Because I asked for a bunch of podcast questions from the little clam rams over on Instagram, and I have all those saved somewhere, but I haven't looked at them in a while. I forgot about those.
Bring them up.
Yeah, because we kind of covered X Games Real Ski. I think we did that duty today.
See if I had anything I saved.
Anything you want to talk about? Get off your chest. You want to talk about the fact that you're now absolutely whipped by your girlfriend of like 2 days?
I don't have a girlfriend. I don't know where this information is coming from.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. All right, Dylan Smith, first question. We're going to go from here. What got you into skiing?
Near you.
We'll go you first. Surprise me. Yeah, so...
yeah, what I was going to say is, I don't know, my mom got me into snowboarding with my cousin, did that for a little bit, and then I broke my snowboard one time, and I had this old pair of twin tips, so I switched, and I was like, oh, yo, this is sick, and then I just, like, not that I wasn't good at snowboarding, but it was not like it came naturally like skiing.
Yeah.
Once I started skiing, it clicked, and then I ran into someone who's like, oh, you should join the team. Like, the local ski hill, I had a park team, and they're like, you should definitely join. And then the acro bag came through, which really got me, like, really progressing tricks into the bag, and that kind of just opened up a whole new thing of...
I feel like that's kind of like the story of most people. Mine was, like, definitely, like, I was just, like, going to ski trips and stuff, and, like, hanging out with the fam, and I was always, like, kind of into that. And I my biggest thing is, like, I love attention, and I love, like, things like that. So, obviously, that's why we're doing the podcast and YouTube and shit, because I'm a little cloud hoe. And, anyways, I was like, if I did a 360, people would be stoked, and that kind of got me into it, so I just started doing it that way. Next question comes, this is kind of opinionated, I guess, comes from Killy MMMMYYYY something else. Opinion on the bunch / swerve skiing.
I don't like it.
I think I don't like it. However, it can be done right by the right people. Some people can make it look good, and I like it. Most people I'm not the biggest fan of. Like I said, I'm a kind of a Clayton Villa, Mutiny kind of style, Sean Jordan kind of style skier, in my opinion. That's what I like to see. Everybody likes their own things.
Yeah, that's like, I think it kind of depends on your personality and where kind of area you grew up in skiing. Like, don't get me wrong, it's totally cool, and it's like
it's different.
It's its own style, and it's unique, and I mean, I still like watching it, but it's not the same for me as, like, that era, like you said, of Clayton Villa, Sean Jordan, like that 2010, when you would do, like, a dub 12, and you would do, like, a cork 7 to, like, an underflip 5 mute, you'd, like, roll it around, which is, like, not allowed anymore because it's talented.
No, dude, you can't do that. Trust me, I spent an hour doing right cork 7s properly. Again.
Like, it's just, I miss that style where it was like nobody really did much more than a dub, and there was like big, like people doing Road 9 Japans onto rails. Like, it was.
Dude, Corey Banner was the man.
It was just a totally different time. That's the style I like. It's not like textbook comp skier. It's like that era is like still like comp style tricks. Like, I like big park shoots. I like big urban rails, big features. Doesn't have to be the most technical trick. Just has to be. But I also don't want to watch someone do a straight slide to like a nose butter nollie skirt thing. I'd rather see like a huge switch 2 to like maybe a nollie front 2 or press 4 or something. Or
like even tail press like a really sick rail or something. I like that.
It's just that's my preference. As like if I was like choreographing my own movie right now and I had to pick skiers, like I'd take like Colby Stevenson. I'd take Tom Wallace if he was still kind of skiing around. I don't know. I'd still take him as an athlete. Torrin, I'd probably take. Trying to think who else. Ferdy, like those kinds of style of skiers now is definitely what I like to see more.
Yep, I agree. Next one is just a quote: "Pain is temporary, swag is for life." Yes, you are right. I agree. We got a couple, so let's rattle through them. Opinion about Harlow and Harlow not competing in X Games. Busted. I am not stoked on it. I think it's kind of a bitch move, in my opinion. If what they say is true, and the reason why I didn't compete in X Games slope is true, I think it's a bitch move. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't want to say step out of step. Like you said, if it's true, I mean, I don't know for sure.
I don't know for sure. That's why I don't want to say
There was a statement that was posted, like, formally, that he didn't do it because of a disagreement with the judging, whatever. But, I mean, you're not at, like, your local timber tour here, and you're not having a little hissy fit. It's Dude. I mean, you can try and stand up to something by making a statement, but that's not the right way to do it.
You know how many times I've landed a run I was super stoked on, and the judges were just like, "Nah, fuck you." I'm like, that definitely should have made finals, and they're like, "No, fuck you," and I'm like, "What?" Dude, and I've been bitching about it.
That there was like split panel judging, and you could like straight slide 3 rails, and then just do like, I don't know, switch 10, switch dub, forward dub, and you would get like a 90.
Dude.
Versus somebody who just did like technical rail tricks and a few singles. Like, it was like, what is going on?
Dude,
like, the amount of
lost.
We had to deal with when we were like coming up and skiing, and I didn't have a hissy fit and decide, I'm not going to ski. I also wanted to be there. I mean, I don't know if he doesn't, but I mean, you got to be, I guess, really angry to not like.
Dude, you have an opportunity that most people will kill for to be an X Games slopestyle. I mean, for somebody like Henrik, obviously, it's kind of like the grass is always greener on the other side. For me, a chance to compete at X Games slopestyle, I would do some fucked up shit to get that chance. However, somebody like Henrik who's competed in it for so long, it probably doesn't have the same allure to him. But at the same time,
at the start, but he's been there for so long, and like that's like very like
at the same time,
there's so many people gunning for that spot.
Yeah,
that it's so disrespectful to get it and be like, no, sorry, I'm not going to do it. Like
because you're like a little bummed on how they judged you in Big Air, and rightfully so, dude. You didn't deserve to win Big Air. You did good. You did some sick tricks. I'm not bagging on him at all, but a switch dub bio 18 does not compete with a triple 19 mute perfectly. It just doesn't.
And it's going to be hard for him in the sense of how long he's been in the sport. And like a couple years ago, he had that really good year, or 2 years or whatever, where he was like the GOAT, you know. But there's been yet another spike in progression, and it's got even more.
Dude, did you see that new kid do a switch quad?
Yeah, I did. It was a wild fourth flip, man. I was kind of surprised he landed that. That was like perfect three, and the fourth one was like a whoop-de-doo.
But like it wasn't like the cork 3 axis though. It was like a proper like switch triple to like another flip.
Wild, I know.
Yeah. That was insane.
It was like, whoa! It blew my mind. I was like, that was insane.
And then, dude, there's kids out there.
It's got to be hard to keep up with that level of progression when you've been there for so long. Like, I mean, it was
and to stay motivated to
watch
do it.
This X Games and see Woodsy do the same tricks he's been doing since 2014. I mean,
bro, there's a lot of kids out there that could have beat Woodsy at X Games, like a lot. And
it's just like they're being grandfathered in at this point because of the sponsorship and the social media pull. And I mean, like Henrik's kind of
Henrik deserves to be there. Woodsy, I wasn't sure.
He does. Absolutely. Like, I really liked having him in the event because it brought, like, a touch. Like, his style is so unique. It's different.
Yeah.
He did have some huge tricks, and I was really stoked to watch him ski. But, like you said, like, I mean, I don't remember what the exact format was. I mean, the only thing that, like, was annoying me was, like, it was Antoine Aldiz who got second. He did the same trick all contests and landed it once. He's been doing it for like 4 years. I was like, yo, like I do not like Swigooter. I do not like watching Andre Gettley ski, but he definitely deserved the win on that one. There was no question in my mind.
He's a burly dude. He sends some his style to dude. Listen to this, okay? So I was riding at the ski hill with Cody today, and Cody has my old ski boots, which are a little too big for him, but he's riding them anyways. Those ski boots fit in my skis, and my ski boots fit in Cody's skis. And I went and shredded Cody's skis and did some rodeo 5s on the jumps. Dude, Cody's skis were up to my nipples. Like, they're up to my shoulders. And I looked at a picture of Andre Rigettli with his skis from X Games, and they are still bigger than Andre Rigettli's skis he has for X Games.
Do you think you could do the tricks he does with
dude,
them?
On those skis, I don't even know how he skis on skis that small, dude. Literally, like, I get he's bigger. So, like, him having skis taller than himself would be a little bit different than me having skis taller than myself, but not really. Dude, it felt like I was riding snowblades. It was insane.
It was crazy. I'm 6'2", and I ride 184, 186, like 184, 186.
Dude, he rides 160 something. He rides my size of skis. It's literally up, like, under his shoulder length.
I just don't like that. That's, like, the biggest... I mean, it's just...
I don't know how he lands, but I know how he flips. Like, with those things on, it feels like you're on fucking trampoline and you could quad any jump. Or double any jump.
Yeah, like, it's just... That's just not... I mean, like, that's why I said I'm not a big fan of him. Like, I don't like really watching him ski, you know? But he definitely did some gnarly tricks, and it's not like it wasn't earned. And it
was earned. It was earned.
Yeah. I mean, there was some people missing, like Burke Rudd wasn't there, and I mean...
He got
saw ABM come back. He did some heated stuff, but I mean... Just in terms of if you watch X Games Big Air, it's supposed to be the pinnacle of what you can do in freestyle skiing. Like, Bush wasn't there. Fabian wasn't there. Fabian Bush. But
he was there. He just didn't have a spot in it.
Yeah, right. But, like, you got, not betting on any of these people, but you got Henrik Harlow. You've got Woodsy. You've got...
Henrik Harlow deserves to be there.
You've got... Yeah, I'm not saying any of these people don't deserve to get there. I just wanted to make a point. You got Antoine Aldiz, and you got ABM. all these guys have been there for, well, Quinn Wolferman I'm going to take out of my list there, but all those people have been there for a while.
Yeah.
And they've just been doing the same tricks as they did. I mean, it's just
ABM did some new tricks.
It's hard to kind of progress, and Henrik's trying to progress it in a stylish way, and then it's just, I mean, Woodsy's been doing that switched up 14 octo for so long, and it used to be sick. Not that it isn't sick anymore, but it's lost the same punch as it had. Like, it's not the same anymore. It doesn't, like, I've seen you do that. I know you can do that. Can you do a 16 now? Or, like, maybe, I don't know. Like, it's just...
Or maybe 4?
I feel bad for saying this because I know how hard it is, but I mean, like, why don't you just fire up a dub bio, like, 14, lead blunt, 2-hand, or something, like, really weird and funky, like...
Try something different, yeah. Anyways, let's move on to this. We've bagged on people enough this podcast. We've done our own thing. What's the best way to get a sponsor? This comes from Maluka _Zach14. I would say the best way is to get good at skiing. That's obvious. Yeah. You need to be on social media nowadays. You need to be posting content. You need to have some form of clout, if you will, that helps make it happen for sure. And you need to explain, first of all, connections is everything. If you have connections to a rep or somebody, you know, well, you're going to get sponsored as long as you're a half-decent skier. And then from there, you need to be able to show these companies what you can do for them. That's about it. What do you think of Mogul Kids? Says Jay.
I was going to say something on the sponsorship side of things. I was just going to say, like, I'm pretty sure you would have done it. I did it. We all probably went through that phase where you're starting to get good at skiing and you're feeling like you're really good, and you send out that sponsorship to the guy, and it's like those companies get a lot of those sponsorships, and I mean,
like,
it's hard to say. And then, if you want a real bit like valuable piece of advice in terms of getting sponsorship, it's definitely going to be buckle down. Work hard. Like you said, social media is becoming a huge piece of it.
Nowadays,
if you want
it's
sponsors,
the majority.
you're going to have social media presence. And you're marketing yourself. Like, you've got to think, you're sending this video in. How many other people can send a video like this? How many of them are going to be better than yours? What makes you stand out, and why should I help you?
What are you going to do for me? Why should I help you? Why should I give you a pair of skis? I'm not going to give you a pair of skis just because you're good at skiing. I'm going to give you a pair of skis because you're going to sell more skis for me. Yeah.
If all these companies had unlimited funds and they were able to help everybody out, I'm sure they would love to do that. But that's unfortunately not how the world works.
And everybody's greedy,
man. They have to make money so they can actually make skis so that people can have skis, whether they're getting them for sponsorship or you're buying them. So it's how the business world works, and it's nothing it's nothing to bag on anybody. It's just how it works, and you got to put in the work, and you got to be professional. You got to you got to have a nice resume, and you got to be able to tell them why they should help you and what makes you stand out as a candidate for them.
And as a young kid, that's hard to understand, but that's basically it. I mean, me and Pat have both done it. We've sent out little sponsorship tapes, sponsorship letters growing up, and I just figured it out the last year, and I've been doing it for a while now. I just kind of figured out understanding sponsors now. So it's definitely something that takes time. Yeah. Ask people that are already sponsored.
It's a job. When you get sponsored, it is work. It's not like, oh, I'm going to send you this video, you're going to send me some skis. It's what you got to post a certain amount. You got to tag people. You've got to constantly be selling stuff. You got to, like, it's not.
And then you need to show these guys you're valuable. Like, if you are selling stuff and kids are like, I want to buy this because you're riding it, tell them about that. Make it known that's what you're doing for them. Next, what do you think about Mogul Kids? Asking as a Mogul Kid. I think Mogul Kids are cool. Sounds very painful on my knees. Sounds like a lot of impact.
Different sport. It's hard to appreciate the full degree of it if you don't do it. It's part of the skiing community, and there's no beef against anybody in that. Like, I don't understand the whole beef between skiing and snowboarding and moguls, this, moguls, that. I never liked moguls because there was very limited progression. You're only allowed to do a certain amount of stuff.
And not a grab.
There's no creativity. Like, I want to be able to, like, do what I want and express myself through my skiing. And when I got to rip down through some bumps and explode my knees and my joints and my back, and then I'm only allowed to do an on-axis single, like cork 14, which I don't want to do. There's no, like, I can't play with my axes. I can't ski backwards. I can't do a double. Like, it's nothing against mogul skiers. Like, in my mind, they're wild. Like, I love watching moguls. To be honest, like,
I love watching mogul
respect
crashes.
for that stuff.
Mogul crashes.
Like, if you ever watched Mikhail Kingsbury ramp, man, that guy's like ridiculous.
He's so good.
Rip out a triple cork 21 mute, and it's like, all right. I mean, they're very good skiers, very talented. I think just the rules around the sport limit their potential.
I think mogul's kids are fucked. I've heard a lot of stories about mogul team kids and kids what happens on mogul teams. Some really at Ryland Evans. We had a friend that turned into park skier that used to be in mogul skis, and some of the stories he told us about what they do hazing wise on mogul teams involves a lot of semen and a lot of dudes. I don't think that's very. I think it's very interesting.
It might be not my child, Bruce. I think you're stepping out of the other side.
Not my cup of tea in terms of freestyle skiing. Thoughts on Tanner Hall's live streams from Nicholas Sushi. Have you seen these? This is a good question. All right, so not to beg on Tanner Hall, but bro, whoever's Tanner Hall's agent needs to block him from Instagram. They need to stop.
Let's get really, really baked and just spew nonsense.
and make fun of people and spew nonsense. Like, make sure everybody's not...
respect, man. Like, from my point of view, you worked so hard to get where you are.
And it's like watching somebody
by making a mistake at the end.
It's like watching somebody's downfall almost. Watching Tanner Hall's live streams, it's like watching like a great athlete you look up to like going downfalling almost. I don't want to get too much into it, but it's definitely interesting.
It's just not helping his reputation.
It would be cool. It would be cool if he was like shedding some positive light on things. He was being like upbeat.
Don't just bag on the sport without any like light to it. Like if you're gonna rip on someone, tell them what you want. Don't just be like, oh, that was sucks. This whole thing, like
It's because he wasn't wearing size medium pants, Pat. You can't have size medium pants. All I'm saying is like maybe don't get baked as piss and spew nonsense.
Let's all get baked as piss and get dreadlocks and do triple backflips into the pow.
It does actually sound kind of fun, to be honest. Like it does sound really fun. Nathan Berger, what kind of workouts and exercise do you do for park skiing? Kind of a lot of everything. Once at my level,
a lot of legs, a lot of core. Upper body's more just injury prevention. Like you want to have good flexibility and strength in your arms, so that when like you land with your arm back, or you just fully body it to the side, you're not tearing shoulders and breaking arms.
Yeah.
But what's really, really crucial is strong core and legs, because when you hit those jumps all day, that's a lot of legs. That is a lot of compression. When you start and back as well, and when you start doing tricks like chorics in particular, like the amount of core you need to keep your hips up and you like straight, your core and legs are your two most important. Your glutes. All hugely important.
And you need to stabilize them legs, them knees. They stabilize them knees so you don't go shredding them and stretch. I'm not gonna get into too much. There's workout programs and stuff on it. Once you get on a prevention team, they'll do all that stuff for you. If you want somebody to do it, you can reach out to anybody that like does personal programs. They'll probably hook you up with something for cheap. And also, if you just go to the gym and be consistent and do a basic gym program, like a basic gym workout program. Even if it's not specified for skiing, you're still going to be better off than if you weren't. So I would suggest that to start.
Anything's better than nothing, right?
Exactly. Style and how to ski with style and shiz. Comes down to
comfort.
Yes, comfort with tricks. Having a huge penis helps as well. Maybe get a good outfit that shows off your package when you go swinging on it.
It's all about comfort with a trick. If you're really comfortable with a trick, then you don't have to do it the same way every time. It's the difference. It's the same between memorizing something and knowing something. If you memorize something, you know what it is, but you don't know what to do with it. If you know something and why you're doing what you're doing, then you can, like, if you're doing a switch 5, you learn switch rodeo 5s. A switch road 5 Japan, super, textbook. Does not look great compared to a super nice carved switch cork 5 blunt, huge shifty to blunt, or something like. Yeah. And that just comes down to the time you've put in and your comfort level with your grabs and your tricks, and it's just mileage.
You stole the word right out of my mouth.
Dog crap when I started skiing, and it took
Dude, we used to call your corks the Lindsay rolls.
Yeah, oh man, the Lindsay roll. Try to do a right cork, and this was right under flip 7, and it was wildly blind, and I don't know how I could land it, but the fact of the matter is, I put in so much time on the same tricks, I'd say if you really want to work on your style, you've got to make sure that you don't jump too far ahead. Making sure you don't. I totally understand what it's like to want to do doubles when you're doing singles and you got your singles dialed in.
And you can do that. Just move on back.
I had a coach who held me back for a whole year from doing doubles and just kept me on the singles, and I got so damn good at singles, it was unreal. Like, the comfort level is just, and that's how you get the style. Like,
it's mileage, yeah.
You know it. It's just mileage. Like, I'm talking 2 years doing the same tricks, you're going to get it. It's unfortunately just time.
Also, watching yourself ski, watching videos of yourself ski helps a lot with style. Yeah. Because there's a lot of times you're doing something when you ski that you don't notice when you're skiing, but you watch a video and you're like, oh, I don't like the way that looks. That comes down to...
my hands used to be all over the place.
And you don't notice it when you're skiing.
I started to just slowly work on keeping them in, and now like I can do a dub 10 mute with my hands like this. Like, just not even having them all over the place.
Today, for instance, I took Cody skiing, and he's like, I'm like, all right, let's do... We're getting videos for the Instagram edit and a vlog, and he wanted to do a 540 on the jump, and like, we're going to film a 540 on the jump. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'll just do a clean 540. I'm like, okay. And like, he's like, how was that? And I'm like, well, let's watch the video. And like, it was like... He thought it was clean, but like in the video, one leg is like this 6 inches higher than the other, and he doesn't realize that when he's spinning in the air. But like when he watches the video, he's like, "Oh, that looks like shit," and I'm like, "Kind of, yeah."
Yeah, that's very important as well. Getting to watch yourself is definitely
and watching other people too.
Mileage, you can pick your style. Yeah, watching other people
because you have to pick your style, and like you have to kind of like. You can't just be like, go out and ski. You have to take inspiration from different places, for sure.
Yeah, everyone likes certain things.
Go Big Waken says, why are you so unknown? You're good and should get much more love. Thank you. I'm sure you have a huge piece and get lots of girls. Go Big Wakens. I love you as well.
With the children. You can't keep saying this to children.
We don't know it's to children. It could be... Dude, my YouTube audio demographic is 18 to 24, the majority. 90% of my YouTube audio audience demographic is 18 to 24, which is really surprising in my opinion. But anyways,
isn't very well known because he just recently has been picking up steam. There's so many people out there now. It is so hard to really stand out.
And recently, I've really put my foot on the gas. Like last year, as of last season, I cut it all out. I cut everything out. I went from like partying and doing stuff like that, which obviously I enjoyed. But I kind of just cut it out, and I'm focusing on skiing, creating content, because I'm at a point in my life where if I don't really work hard on this and focus on this, I'm gonna miss my opportunity to do this. So I've really put my foot down, and I've been working on it and learning and trying new things and reaching out to people for help and like figuring it out as I go and putting a lot of effort into it and being consistent too has helped a lot. But like for instance, last year at the beginning of last ski season, I had 3,000 followers on Instagram. I have pretty much 10,000 now on Instagram. I had like 400 subscribers on YouTube. In the last month, I've gone up 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. And like everything like that. And like it is growing at a good rate. My skiing has gone way better, so.
But if you look at the growth, the amount of work you've put in over the past 2 years, and you're just starting to see these kinds of results, it's not a quick process.
It's not a quick process. No.
Once it starts to roll, like it's like making a snowball. You start small and
fucking goes,
picks
baby.
Up steam. But it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to get that started. It's not like you could just post yourself at the park every now and then. It's not how that works.
No, you don't get to just go and post one video whenever you feel like it every month and be like, oh wow, I'm Instagram famous, or like I can create a career out of this. That's just not how it works.
No.
Camera died, so let's wrap up a couple questions and then we'll go from here. I think the camera lasts about an hour on full battery life. We're at an hour and 4 minutes now, which is pretty good in terms of a podcast. No, I'm gonna get one soon. I'm going to get a new camera maybe this week.
Nice.
A podcast and like YouTube camera. Kind of like the crack one that I was using, but anti-crack and that doesn't shut off after 30 minutes and has better battery life.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And something like that. So, comp routine in the morning before a comp. I like to go running in the morning, stretch, meditate, yoga. I like to make sure I've done everything I know I can to do it and visualize a lot. You got anything you like to add to that?
I used to have a pretty, not like, I was...
You have to find what works for you.
I would like to make sure I get a good sleep.
Yeah.
All depends on what time I compete at. Like, if I'm competing at 9 in the morning, I'm probably in bed at 9 at night the night before. If I'm competing at 1 in the afternoon, I might stay up till midnight, but I'm not getting out of bed till 10.
Yeah.
Like, as long as I get that good sleep. And then I like to start the mornings. Usually I would go slow. Coffee, good quality breakfast, good solid stretch session. Usually listen to music all morning, get in the right headspace. And then once you get to the hill, it's a nice, good warm-up.
Yeah.
In terms of before you even get on the hill, good stretches. That's your part all usually pretty the same. And then just getting comfortable in the park. I mean, I don't like to do my comp run too many times before. I like to just ride the park and get comfortable. Maybe do each trick once or twice, not even in the same order necessarily, and just so long as I'm comfortable. My big thing with comp skiing is, I mean, I kind of got out of it before I really got to my peak, whereas you're kind of getting there now with consistency. I would always have something go wrong. Like, I'd go to do a 2P4 and I'd do a 2P2, or I'd try to do switch 2P4 and it just, it wouldn't work properly. And I'd always come out either switch
and
or
have
four
to
or something
improvise.
Wrong. And I was really good at improvising because I was really good at the park. I wouldn't just ride the course and hit the jumps the same way every time. I was alternating from switch to forward all the time. So if something went wrong, it's not like I've never hit this jump switch before.
But then you're also you're also planning to fail, which is not great either. It's kind of like a mix between.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm planning to fail. I like to be really comfortable in the jumps in any aspect that I do. Yeah. Is more what I'm going after.
What do you think the best?
I'm relaxed in terms of going.
What do you think the best way to progress in park skiing is in the park? From
repetition,
commitment.
If
find a good crew.
Where you
push yourself.
It's a weird sport in terms of leisure. Like, it's hard to just kind of a sport that's hard to do at leisure. Like, I mean, you can kind of come to the park and put in your time, and you'll learn, you'll progress slowly. It kind of depends what you really want to do with it. If you really want to log the hours and...
If you want to compete at the highest level, right now, in today's day and age, you need to be on an airbag. You need to be going to a place like Maximize. You need to be on a trampoline. Those are all things you need to be doing. Gym?
Yeah, but if you just...
Backyard
if
setup.
You don't want to necessarily be the best in the world. You just want to be able to show up to your local park and kill it.
Yeah.
You're definitely still going to need...
Just put time
in. Not like a... Yeah, it's just putting your time in, getting on the trampoline, getting comfortable with skiing switch forward, sliding rails both ways. It's just getting comfortable. It's all about mileage.
Yeah. I think this is kind of cool. Favorite trick you've ever done? From Keelan Colquhoun. I don't know how to say his last name. Favorite trick. It's kind of a weird one because I have a lot of tricks I like. I don't know if I have a favorite one.
I was doing really, really flat Bio 9 mutes at one point. I really like doing those.
I think my favorite one is probably...
Switch sevs. Switch like cork sevs are my favorite trick for sure. Switch cork, not like switch rodeo 7, like a proper switch like carving cork 7.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter the grab, kind of depends if I'm going right or left. I like certain grabs with each one. If I'm going like switch right, I'll do a lead blind.
For me, I think it changes a lot. I don't really want to pick a favorite one I've ever done because things get boring stuff. Right now, I really like Switch 5 Japans. That's kind of been my Switch Road 5 Japans. I've been just enjoying a lot. What does an athlete eat? An athlete like me personally eats whatever the hell he can on his time schedule. Usually try to stay healthy. Other than that, it's not really good.
Stay hydrated. Yeah. Hydration is really key for the muscles because it's a lot of impact and sharp movements. So staying hydrated is key. Have a good diet. I mean, if you're really trying to do a sport, you got it. Your body is not just lounging.
Okay, this question comes from Delphinus, and I'm gonna give you the best. Here's what you need to do if you're gonna be. Yeah, that's fine. I got it covered. If you're gonna be the best freestyle skier, Delphinus, you need to smoke a lot of weed. That's how you become a good freestyle skier. It's facts. Look at Tanner Hall. Look at Henrik Harlow. Look at Quinn Wolferman. They all smoke a lot of weed. This is how you're going to become the best freestyle skier. Smoke a lot and go to the hill. I think that wraps up all of our questions. I'm glad I could shed some light on that productivity at the very end. Yeah. Shit. All right, what do you want to say? You want to say anything else on this podcast before we go?
Good. I just want to, shed some knowledge to the younger kids out there.
No, you just want our podcast to go viral so we can clap some cheeks together on our trip back from Ontario.
I would just say, when I was starting, when I was grade 9, 10.
Yeah.
trying to like figure it out. If you're serious about the sport, there wasn't as much in terms of helping. Like the sport was not even in the Olympics, really, or it was first year if that was it. A lot of filming was going on. There wasn't a lot of structure to progressing.
Don't know.
And now it's just like you can join your local club. Boom, next thing you know, if you're dedicated and work hard enough, you're on a provincial team, or depends if you're on the states. Like you move up through the ranks, and it's very structured and organized, and it's a very distinct path. It didn't used to be like that. As much, and there wasn't a lot of people with online resources to kind of help you and give advice as much as there is now, which is definitely good. Yeah,
and I think it's cool that we can do that with this podcast. I also want to have fun with it. I don't want it to be a super educational podcast all the time, and especially in terms of skiing. This happens to be one of the episodes, but me and Pat, like, dude, if you heard half the shit that comes out of our mouths and the conversations you had, you would probably throw us in a penitentiary, but it's also hilarious, so maybe down the line we'll get into a little bit of that stuff, but I just want to say thank you for everybody that listened to this podcast and that has been listening to the podcast. If you guys want to help us get more views and help this podcast get seen by other people, share it with your friends and subscribe to it on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. If you guys comment on it on Apple Music and Spotify and give it 5 stars, either or both, helps it get seen in the rankings and gets it shown to other people. So with that being said, we're going to sign off, but that was an awesome podcast, and maybe next week we'll be back with a guest. Maybe it'll just be us two ramming our clams away about something else on the system. So with that being said, much love from the kid. I'm sure Pat loves you little orifices too, and deuces.